Howdy folks, Little John. Friday afternoon. It's been a lovely winter's day here in the southwest, so jumped out on the veranda just to grab the last of the warmth before the sun starts dipping down and we get cold. Enjoyed myself out on the golf course earlier. Didn't have my best round ever, but hey, as they say, your worst day at golf's better than your best day at work, so there we are. Sitting down, I'm going to have a bit of a taste on some of Little John's homemade whole-grain American style whiskey, bourbon, which has actually been aging on actual chunks of Jack Daniel's barrel, actual pieces of the staves, not just chipped up. So I'm interested to see how it goes. It's taken a while to actually impart colour and it's quite light, but I'm interested to see how it goes. But it's not what we're here to talk about. I was hoping today to do actual first tasting on the Brut IPA, but it's only not even 3 weeks in the bottle yet. Yeah. So I'd rather give it another week before getting in and tasting it, just to let the hops settle a little bit. I don't like drinking anything with hops that fresh. Discussed it before. So today's tack, I thought I'd have a bit of a chat, and this is based on a few. It's been a few posts and stuff on Facebook online around this subject, and this is around sparging. Now, I don't think I've ever actually done a video, even like that. I've done a chat or even a bristle or anything on sparging itself. Obviously, sparging is done in the videos as part of brew day, but I've never really just addressed it on its own. And this recent talk around it has sort of got me thinking, maybe it's time. Today's probably a good day to do it. So here we are, having a chat about sparging. Now, for those who don't know what sparging is, and anyone who's brewed with any sort of grain knows what sparging is. But if you're a kit brewer, an extract brewer, and you've never used grain, or even if you're just doing partial mashes, you've most likely never actually had to sparge. So what sparging is, it's a process of rinsing sugars from the grain after the mash. So when you're doing a grain mash, you go through, you mash your grains in a certain amount of your water and you hold an amount back, which you then pour through the grains to rinse and flush it through. Now, the sparge amount on a normal all-grain batch is normally somewhere between 40 and up to 60% of the actual total water volume of the batch. That number varies for all sorts of reasons. Main one is just the actual capacity of people's brew vessels. Sometimes it's just not possible. By the time you add your grains into your mash tun, and then add your mashing liquid, then you lose a lot of volume with the grain, so you can't get as much in there. So you tend to quite often get more water coming in for the sparge. Now, on a standard 3V system, you mash and then slowly add your sparge water as you're actually draining your mash tun. So for a percentage of the time, the sparge water is sort of incorporating with your mash water and the wort, and all working together and dropping through. So that's called a fly sparge. And so what you get is you only get really a very minimal amount of water that's actually just clean water and rinsing through your grain bed. It generally tends to mix in with what you've already got and just slowly just drops through. Now, with the advent in recent years of the popularity of brew in a bag, which is quite often done mostly as a one vessel full volume mash with a minimal sparge, and quite often just enough sparge just to rinse the water through the grain. It's quite often only done with 2 or 3 litres of water. Through to now the increasing popularity of all-in-one systems like the RoboBrew, Grainfather, Brewmeisters and the like. It seems like every other day you turn around, there's someone's creating a new system, all running around the same principle. But they all have the same issue. They are a limited volume size, so you can't get a big volume in with your mash. So you end up with this big volume of sparge water. And this in itself is where you start running into problems as a brewer. And I said this problem is more of a problem for different brewers than others. Traditionally, sparge water is heated to around 78 to 85 degrees, so you can raise the temperature of your grain bed while you're sparging to ensure you've completed the conversion of the enzymes in the grain and finished off your full extraction of your sugars. So that means the brewer sitting at home needs to heat up a considerable amount of water. Now we're talking if we're talking a 23 litre batch, you're looking at somewhere around, generally around 18 to 20 litres for a mash, and then again, depending on your system and stuff, can be anywhere from again from 14 up to 20 litres for your sparge. So if that requires a second vessel, that requires a decent sized one. Now, most people have got 6 or 7 litre stock pots in the house. Some people have 10, 11, 12 litre pots. Not so many people have 20 litre pots. And that's what you need, and sometimes even a little bit bigger, to be able to warm your sparge water. Now, that's on top of what it is you're brewing in. Now, this becomes an issue for a lot of brewers because they've already got they bought a big pot for mashing in if they're doing brew in a bag. If you are doing that single brew in a bag, most people go for a big pot that they can just stick the bag in, do full volume, rip it out, and just pour a little bit, a litre and a half, and quite often it's just out of the kitchen kettle. They just pour it through the grain just to rinse it out. And if you're using like a RoboBrew or a Grainfather, then you need a separate vessel, and whether that's a pot or quite often the recommended method and what they push with for the retailers is to have an urn or a second boiler, which you warm your sparge water in, and then you can use that and set up your system on bloody stands and at a higher level and let it run through under gravity. Now again, for the brewer who's gone out and spent $400 odd, $900, $1,200, $2,000, depending on the system, they then have to turn around and spend another $150 to $200 on an extra boil. It's a little bit frustrating and seems a bit pointless, and especially when all it does is just boil up a little bit of water. But if you want to do the traditional method with the hot water in your sparge, then you've got to do that. And this is where these questions are starting to come in now, because people are starting to go, well, do I need to use hot water? Do I need to have 80-degree water for my sparge? Can I just use my hot water from the tap? Or can I just use tap water in general? And it's starting to get this little bit, there's even a discussion going about it, and whether it should or shouldn't happen. Now, the biggest argument that you get for people saying, that you shouldn't use just tap water or even cooler water, is that you don't get the maximum efficiency out of your grain. Now, I've recently run a whole different combination of sparges. I've sparged with just straight tap water, at 18, 20 degrees. I've run hot water from the tap. I've done a few batches where I've filled the robo brew before the brew to full volume, warm it up to just above mash temperature, drop out my sparge volume, and just sit it aside in a big pot, and just put a lid on it and just sit it aside. Do my mash and then and rinse with that. So that's water that's dropping down to it's dropping down around 50 degrees in the time while the mash is happening. So it's not at the temperature that ideally you want it at. I've pulled the pot off and set the pot under my portable hot plate and kept it at proper mash temperature. And I really can't say I've seen or noticed any great difference in efficiency. Now, like I said, I haven't done a side by side, and I have been playing around with my milk rush and volumes just in general on the robo brew. I haven't completely dialed in, and this is partly because I jump between full batches and smaller batches. So I haven't got a real solid comparison on it. But the reality is I really haven't noticed any great amount of difference from one way to another. The beers are still coming out fine. I believe there could be potentially a small loss of efficiency, but I'm talking small. And I want to say, like maybe 3 gravity points small, and that you're not going to get using just tap water than you're going to get if you're using, water at the right temperature. And for me, to look at that and to go to another brewer and say, look, you really should be using warm water and go to the trouble and the effort and extra cost or whatnot, I can't do that. I haven't really found any noticeable reason to not do it. 3 points of efficiency, you can adjust your recipe to get that back. It's only a little bit extra, it's a couple of hundred extra grams of grain. It's a scoop of dextrose if you're that way inclined. It's very little to do, make that difference. It's an extra 15-minute boil to get it. It can be picked up other ways. So should we do it or shouldn't we do it? I mean, I really think it's a personal opinion. It's a personal preference. It comes down to your setup and whether you've got the availability to do it. I mean, brewing's constantly changing, and the way things are being done and the way it's being looked at and the way results are being achieved, it's always changing, always being different. So I've taken a while to get my bloody head out of the whole traditional methods and stuff, and really jump on board with some of the newer methods. I'm still believe there's a lot of wankery getting about, but sparging really comes down to, in my opinion, a case of economics, and always has been. I don't believe it's always been economics. It's much more practical to make a half-size batch, volume-wise, and then just flush the other half of your water through it when it's done, to get your volume. Then to have a mash tun that's twice the size. And that works from the home brew bloody scale. If you can just have your one vessel and all you've got and all you need to do to mash is just grab a container and turn your tap on and pour it in, then that's easier. It's cheaper. There's less things you need. You know? And as I said, I really don't think the outcome is really noticeable. I'm not going to do a comparison because, realistically, it would be a tad fiddly, and it can be done, but like a lot of things with brewing, do what works for you, do what you're happy with, do what gets you the results you want. If you're happy with doing this sparging a particular way, then do it, stick with it. If you're getting beer you like, then that's all that matters. If you try certain ways and it doesn't get you what you want, then play around and try something different until you do get what you want. So there is no right way, there is no wrong way. You can do full volume mash with no sparge at all, and I do it. I've done it plenty of times. I'll be doing it on the batch in coming weeks. I'll just do a full volume mash in the Rabo brew, which will have, one jug of water to sparge with, under 2 litres. I've done full volume brew in a bag with the same thing, just enough to rinse the grain. So it's not necessary. It doesn't have to be done. So if you do it a particular way, if you've got a way you sparge, you do something different, or you got a reason why people should do it a particular way, stick it in the comments. Let's find out what people are doing, what works, what doesn't. Can someone come up with a really clear scientific reason why we shouldn't use cold water to sparge with? That's it, I haven't seen it. But that's it. Comments down the bottom, always. If you're new to Little John, if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button down there in the bottom as well. Come along. We talk these crazy sort of things, put these ideas out there and chat about them. Occasionally we do videos on brewing and things around brewing. Sometimes we just drink stuff. But either way, we try to learn and improve as much as we can at all times. So that's me, Little John, for the day. I'm going to wrap it up. So, that's it. Comment, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. So, till I see you again, we brewing beer, we drinking beer, we talking beer. Good brewing.